I'm not here to poke holes in suspended disbelief.
Anyway, they see some weird shit. They decide to make a baby.
Thou merkin merchant.
Who gives a fuck?
Oh my god, I just want to start calling you Damian yells at school boards.
Well, we really like it here. It's kind of nice, and it's not as cold as back home, and the soil is a lot better. So yeah, sure, I think we're gonna settle.
If I'm a peasant boy who grabs a sword out of a stone,
Yeah.
I'm able to open people up
Well, yeah.
anytime I hit them with it, right?
Yeah.
So my cleave landing will make me a cavalier.
Good day, sir. If Siskel thought it was empty-headed plebeian trash, he was probably really gonna groove on it.
Because cannibalism and murder. Pull back just a little bit and build walls to keep out the redheads. Authorial intent doesn't exist. Some people stand up to wipe their butts. Some people stay seated to wipe their butts. Like, it just... This is a geek history of time.
Where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher here in Northern California, sometimes masquerading as a teacher of the English language. And I am really excited that this weekend, going to date our recording right here. We got a holiday weekend, and on Monday, I'm going to get to meet producer George's family. So I'm very excited about that. Who are you, and what's going on in your life?
I'm Damian Harmony. I am a Latin teacher up here in Northern California for just the last little bit. And I mean, honestly, it's going to be about 2 years where I still get to teach a little bit of Latin. But I have seen producer George's family a bunch of times, so no great shakes. But it will be the first time that my children get to come down there to see them since I checked the calendar, January of 2020.
Okay.
I believe.
So
yes.
That's
yes.
going on.
Pert near a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real
so
close.
Which in the parlance of my children, at least 3 or 4 inches.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
They are sprouting up. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I got to see them a few weeks ago because we're all vaccinated now. So it's been nice. So yeah, that's about what we got going on.
Right.
And unfortunately for producer George's wife, Mrs. Producer George, I don't cover very much of her favorite wrestler, Booker T, who is known for his incredibly long legs.
Really?
Yeah, it just he's known to her for his incredibly long legs.
Right.
Yeah, but he's far and away her favorite wrestler. So yeah.
All right. Now you had mentioned that your favorite wrestler is
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yes.
And I actually did a very little bit of my own research during the week because this came up, and you've kind of mentioned it, and you've mentioned this seminal event, this incredibly important event in the history of modern professional wrestling.
Yes.
Repeatedly.
Yes.
In several different episodes when wrestling has come up, because it's just that big a deal culturally.
Yep.
And so I'm very excited because you said the other day that we're finally going to talk about this in detail.
The Montreal Screwjob.
The Montreal Screwjob.
Yes. Now, to talk about the Montreal Screwjob,
yes,
we of course have to talk about 1700s puppetry, because
that's always how this works.
That's how it works.
1700s puppetry.
We can actually just go back to Abraham Lincoln, so who is known for his wrestling. No, actually, let's go back to 1925 though. I joke and I kid, but 1925. Now, the Montreal Screwjob happened in 1997.
Yes.
So we're of course going to go back to 1925. In 1925, you might remember Ed the Strangler Lewis.
Yes.
Okay. Well, he was a part of a trio of guys. There was Ed the Strangler Lewis, Wayne Munn, and if I recall correctly, George Sandow, or it might have been.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah. And there was a group called the Gold Dust Trio. I might be mixing guys up, quite honestly.
I recognize Gold Dust Trio for sure.
So anyway, Ed the Strangler Lewis was backing a guy named Wayne Munn. Or no, I'm sorry, was backing a guy named Stanislaus Zabisco.
Okay, and I
No.
recognize that name too.
Now
You've
Zbyszko.
educated me well.
Yes,
All right.
his name ends up getting taken up by a guy named Larry Zbyszko, who was big in the 70s.
Okay.
But Stanislaus Zbyszko, a really good, pro wrestler. It's 1925. Ed the Strangler Lewis was involved in a screw job, whereby Wayne Munn got the shit kicked out of him. So,
Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like a legitimate beating.
yeah, well, it was a work turn shoot, and it was
Oh, really?
yeah, it was a double cross.
Oh, wow.
Lewis was on Munn's side, as best I could tell. So what he did was he went back and he went to the state athletic commissions, both of which, they license wrestlers. And if you don't,
at the time,
if you don't have a license, then, and actually I just found Hulk Hogan's wrestling license from the 70s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But if you don't have a wrestling license, you can't wrestle in that town or in that state. He went to the state athletic commissions and he got them to erase the decision of a shoot that was supposed to be a work, and that therefore Munn kept the title and Munn dropped the title to Lewis just a few weeks later. Now that was 1925, and I bring that up because in 1931 Henry DeGlane and Ed the Strangler Lewis were involved in a screw job. Now DeGlane, back then championship matches were best 2 out of 3 falls.
Okay.
Ed had the belt, and I believe he was supposed to go over. And between the first and the second fall, and I think, yeah, because if DeGlane got the first fall, as is normal, give your champion some jeopardy to be in, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So he's got the first fall.
Yeah.
Then there's a small rest period. He bit himself near his own armpit to the point where he drew blood and left teeth marks. Then he hid that as he went in to wrestle. As soon as he got Ed into a headlock, or they might have just locked up, he started screaming. The ref saw the blood and saw the teeth marks and immediately disqualified Ed the Strangler Lewis.
Oh, my God.
Awarded the belt to DeGlane, awarded the match to DeGlane, and Lewis knew he'd gotten screwed, so he went to the back to beat the shit out of the promoter, but the promoter had hired bodyguards, all equipped with baseball bats.
Okay, so the moment you go back there and find that the guy's hired bodyguards,
You're like, fuck it. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all
All
right,
confirmation.
you know what?
Also, fuck it. I'm going to Europe. And that's what he did.
Okay.
All right, so that's 31.
Wow.
19...
Okay, hold on though.
Sure.
I want to I can't imagine trying to.
Right there.
But see, that's
Yeah.
your arm.
But it's near the armpit.
Okay, near the.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
So yeah, I thought he
'cause
bit his
I
own
was
flank
picturing,
too, but
like his own pectoral.
right.
Like how do you get your own? You can't.
Right.
So it
And-
would have had to be.
Yeah, and I don't want to
the
be like
bicep or up on the
I don't want to be a
shoulder.
talking point on Clerks 3, so I'm not going to bother trying.
Yeah.
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 So
Okay.
yeah. So now 1933, Jim Londas. Okay, now Jim Londas, you may have heard. I don't think
that
okay.
one doesn't ring a bell.
He was a body guy. He was one of the first non-traditional shooters, and he was a body guy, and he drew a hell of a crowd. He's a very handsome man. I can't remember. I think he was called the Golden Greek or something like that.
That's such a great name. I love
Yeah.
it.
And
Okay.
he was going against Joe Savoldi. Now, Londas had lots of enemies. He also didn't work very well. He was kind of the early Hulk Hogan, except I would say Hulk Hogan actually could work. He just never had to, at least in America. Like
Yeah,
you watch
okay.
some of Hogan's Japanese matches, dude could work. And he sold. Hogan always sold. I'm a big believer of that. But Savoldi was in cahoots with his promoter. Remember, there's rival promotions.
Yeah.
And this is in 33. And he, if I recall correctly, yes, Savoldi, so Joe Savoldi, put him in a submission hold.
Okay.
And Londas made it to the ropes. And Savoldi, and the reason Londas made it to the ropes was because Savoldi started putting what's called shooting pressure, not working pressure.
Oh, okay.
So
All
if
right.
I were to take you outside of our recording studio and put you in a figure 4, I could do it and make it look like I'm killing you, and you could react accordingly.
Yeah.
Or I could snap your leg like a goddamn twig, because the figure 4 will snap someone's knee like a goddamn twig.
Will
Yeah.
fuck them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Savoldi put shoot pressure, and Londis immediately reached back and grabbed the ropes. Now, if you grab the ropes, that breaks the hold. The referee ignored this and called for the bell. I believe that this is the most similar antecedent to the Montreal Screwjob.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So just consider the pieces that are in play.
Yeah, got it.
Now, in 1936, there was a screw job that almost killed wrestling forever in New York. It actually killed wrestling in Madison Square Garden for 10 years.
Really?
Yes. It was, I love these names. There was a guy named Dick Chicot.
Okay.
Okay. And there was an Irishman from New York called Dano O'Mahony.
Dano
O'Mahony. Yes. Now, Chicot.
Mahoney. All right. Okay.
Chicot was supposed to job out to him for the championship, but he ends up shooting on Dano and beats him. He then gets the title, and then he drops the title just a few weeks later. Now, this is a pretty normal thing. The guy who does the hatchet job is a transitional champion so that he can then give it to the next guy, because then everything, all the dust kind of settles.
Yeah,
you have
a reset.
Yeah, you don't have a bunch of shooters gunning for that guy either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So guess where he drops the title, though?
Madison Square Garden?
Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Now the most recent screw job prior to 1997, I think. Now, there are others that happened in Japan. I don't want to say that those didn't happen. And there was a screw job that happened in an NWA title tournament, I remember. But this one was between Wendy Richter and the Spider Lady. Now, Wendy Richter was the female version of Hulk Hogan. You had the Rock and Wrestling happening in 1985. Wendy Richter is the one that went to the ring with Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Wendy Richter, if I recall correctly, nope, that's Rock and Robin. Never mind. Wendy Richter, Rock and Robin is the sister of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, okay.
And they're both the children of Grizzly Adams. Or is it Grizzly Smith? The one that's a wrestler, not the guy that...
Grizzly Adams was the mountain man.
Okay, this would be Grizzly Smith. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, so Wendy Richter, not related to them. Wendy Richter was, according to McMahon, she was too big for her britches. Because, get this, he handed her a contract the night of the show, and she said, I don't want to sign it until I've read it. And that's not how you do business, according to McMahon in 1985.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, she was demanding Hulk Hogan money, according to a lot of people, and you could certainly have... I mean, yeah, you and I are union guys. None of these wrestlers are. Jesse the Body Ventura tried to start a union. Hulk Hogan stooged it out. That's a fun story.
Wow.
Yeah. But according to Jesse, of course.
Okay. Well, yeah.
But
there's you know.
Take a salt lick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having said that, I do tend to believe Jesse when it comes to workers' rights issues.
Okay.
Because of this lawsuit that he won against McMahon.
Yeah.
Because of how he's bounced around to different federations, specifically because he's like, no, you're not giving me the money I deserve.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wendy Richter wanted to read her contract before signing it. She was a big draw, but Vince already had Hulk Hogan, and he's like, that's the last straw. So he came up with Plan B, and Plan B was to have her wrestle the Spider Lady. Now, the Spider Lady, as soon as Wendy gets out there, she's like, that's fucking Fabulous Moolah under a mask. So she knows some bullshit's about to happen. Because
so Fabulous Moolah is a real shooter.
Fabulous Moolah is a goddamned asshole. But she was always the stories on her. Honestly, that's going to be one of my recommendations. Is just go watch Vice on Hulu. And watch the Fabulous Moolah episode. It's and then watch the Montreal Screwjob episode because both of those. But they deal with screw jobs, both of them actually. But the Fabulous Moolah was she was from the old Carney days. And so she exploited the hell out of the wrestlers that she trained, and the only way to work as a woman wrestler was basically to work for her crew, and she always got a kickback. And it was really crooked. So there's a lot of people who have a very problematic history with her specifically, to the point where they actually WWE, in a classic misstep on their part, They did an all-women's battle royal, and they called it the Fabulous Moolah Classic, and Twitter roasted them to the point where they changed the name. Because one of my favorite comments was, oh, does this mean all the women in it are only going to get paid 30% of what they make, and then someone else is going to get the rest?
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So Wendy Richter goes out there. Now, in 1985, Fabulous Moolah had been wrestling for 35 years.
Jesus.
Yeah. She was the longest reigning women's champion. She was very loyal to Vince's dad, and that passed down to Vince.
Oh, okay. All right. So but by that time, she had to be in her 50s?
Probably. If you look at pictures of her, you're like, yeah, that's easily in her 50s.
I mean, like, we're talking about a physical athletic competition here. So, you know, youth and strength aren't nothing.
Right. But we're also talking about, as you call them, sparkly murder gymnastics, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
So, it's pretty easy to, especially when you are a mean asshole like Fabulous Moolah was, in terms of the way that you work with people. She was born in 1923. So this is 1985. So she's 63. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's still wrestling at that point. So she's now.
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
She only had like 4 moves. You know, I mean,
right.
she was, but they were all asshole moves. Like she's like really pulling people by the hair, swinging them around by the hair, kicking them for real. I mean, most of her moves were just shoot moves.
Okay.
But the history of women's wrestling in the North American continent is fascinating and corrupt as shit. Like,
oh wow. Okay.
Oh god, the guy who ran it for a while and just quite the rabbit hole you can go down. But anyway, Moolah is under a mask. She's known as the Spider Lady. Wendy goes out there and she's like, "That's fucking Moolah. I know it's Moolah, but I'm okay with it because I can handle myself." She thought she could shoot her, and she probably could have. However, she didn't count against the ref, and so Moolah got her in a small package for a 1 count, and the ref quickly pounded out a 3 count. After that, Wendy went to the back, grabbed her bags. She had never heard from again in the WWF.
Oh wow!
Until Vince had her come back for the Hall of Fame. Which is this weird Caesar-like thing of, I've got the power to forgive you because I'm so powerful and you're going to like it. And everybody kind of comes back for it because it's a payday and it's a way of like mending fences in some ways. And,
okay.
Yeah. So there are
I'm
screw
gonna
jobs.
Forgive you for me having fucked you over.
I'm going to Yeah. Vince is going to forgive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because that's the hand of magnanimity.
Yes.
Held out.
Yes. Yes.
You may approach.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the Montreal Screwjob, I guess. Let's see. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels had a 60-minute Iron Man match in WrestleMania 12.
Okay.
I still consider it a very boring match, even though it's 2 of my favorite performers of all time. It's 2 guys that I'd seen the most in my lifetime. My very first match that I ever watched was the Midnight Rockers versus Playboy Buddy Rose and Pretty Boy Doug Summers.
Okay.
By the way, the Midnight Rockers got their names from the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay.
Those teams were huge in the South.
Okay.
And so Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty versus Playboy Buddy Rose and Pretty Boy Doug Summers. That was like the first match I ever watched, and it was in AWA.
Okay.
And then I found WWF, and one of the first matches I watched there was the Hart Foundation with Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart with Jimmy Hart as their manager when they were heels. The Hart Foundation versus, I want to say it was it wouldn't have been the Young Stallions because they didn't come in until 87 or so. It might have been against the British Bulldogs or something. It was a schmoz match.
All right.
So these are 2 guys that I'd followed my entire love of wrestling.
Okay.
So they had a great match, according to most, at WrestleMania 12. I personally found it a little boring. Yes, it told a story, but it was a really long, drawn-out story.
Okay.
Yeah, as it was. Okay. So for a while, that particular match goes to 0-0 after 60 minutes, which you hit the 60-minute mark, champion's advantage. Bret walks out. I'm still the champ.
Okay.
Gorilla Monsoon, then the commissioner at the time, says, no, this match needs to have a winner and a loser. So get back in here, and it's going to be sudden death. Next fall wins. Brett's like, this is ridiculous. By the way, it ended with Brett keeping Sean in the sharpshooter for a long time. Okay,
Oh, wow.
sharpshooter is
Okay.
his submission move.
His signature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he comes back in. Sean's selling it like a champ because Sean is an amazing performer. I dare say Sean is a better performer than Brett in terms of spectacle.
Okay.
Brett's still my favorite, and also I think Brett is a better performer in terms of making everybody else look good while telling different stories.
Okay.
And not always putting himself over, even though he constantly went over. Brett goes in and basically, kicks on Sean a bunch. Sean, he's got a really quick move called Sweet Chin Music, where he kicks you upside the chin.
Yeah.
And knocks you out. He does it twice to Brett because the first one, they're like, oh, it didn't catch him all the way. And Brett gets back up and Sean hits him again and pins him clean in the middle. And he is now champion. Now, Sean at this point is in his very early 30s. And his body is fairly damaged from everything he's done. And he's starting to get into some pretty hefty drugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's a real asshole, like through a lot of it. Like,
oh, wow.
Prima
Okay.
donna, whiny boy. He's not the man that he later becomes. And, it is what it is. Okay.
Okay.
Now
at that time, WrestleMania at that point, was he a heel?
so at this time they were both faces.
Okay.
Because Sean, the audience had just started liking Sean more and more and more.
Okay.
And they talked about this as being his boyhood dream. And they had these wonderful promos that showed Sean as just a Superman. It's funny, too, because the promos that they cut on Brett were, he looked like an old man running around. Like there's one where he's being trained by his dad. Well, his dad is Stu Hart and had been in the Olympics in like 1940. But Stu is a master stretcher. Like,
Okay.
and so you show Brett getting stretched by his dad, which is good training, but he's getting beat up by an old man is what it looks like, right? Meanwhile, Sean's doing like upside down push-ups and he's running up and down like the stadium steps.
Yeah.
Brett's
Rocky
running.
all
Yeah.
the way, yeah.
Brett's running, but he's running in Calgary, so it's really, really slippery everywhere because it's,
Okay.
the winter because,
Snow and ice.
yeah, Mania is in spring. And so Brett's running hella slow, and it's just a lot of bad optics for Brett.
Yeah.
Bummer for
Okay.
that. So Sean is a good guy. He's a face, and at least in front of the camera. So at the end of it, and they're starting to kind of turn Brett a little bit. They're giving him a few shades here. Now this is 96, so we're heading toward Stone Cold Steve Austin exists, but I think he's still the ringmaster. And if he's not the ringmaster, he just turned into Stone Cold.
Okay.
Okay. So he's not white hot yet. But you're starting to see shadings happening, right?
Got it. Okay.
So, Brett leaves, gets in his car and drives away, and he does this to work the boys. He does this to start the rumor mill going that he's actually pissed about how it ended,
Okay.
including backstage. Okay?
Oh. So it's head games.
Yes, he's working the boys because the boys talk to the dirt sheets and the dirt sheets get out to the fans and the fans talk to each other and there's smart marks and stuff like that.
Okay, back up. I need a little bit of vocabulary.
Sure.
So boys,
Wrestlers in the back,
dirt,
not the promoter.
Okay, dirt sheets.
Independent publications that rely on the rumors and information given by the wrestlers themselves.
Okay, so like zines.
Yeah, kind of like
Kinda?
think of the National Enquirer mixed with Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
It'll print rumors, it'll
Okay.
print speculations, but it also
Okay,
give you
it
stats
also
and stuff like
gives
that.
you- Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so he's trying to work his fellow wrestlers.
A bit, yeah. Because he's
And-
going to take some time off.
Okay.
And so you just lost the championship, you leave and you're gone, and that allows the rumor mill to keep going. It keeps
Okay.
the name in there because he's building toward WrestleMania 13, where he and
Okay.
Shawn get a rematch.
right.
That's what he's planning for, right? Shawn gives him back the belt then or whatnot. And also he's going to go away so that people can miss him. He's also
Yeah.
going to go away so that he can film Lonesome Dove.
Right.
And he's
Right,
going to
right,
go
right.
away because he's got some nagging injuries. So now for a while, they were working off of this alleged heat. Shawn goes and has a wonderful babyface run for a while. Then Brett comes back, I want to say for SummerSlam or so. So we're talking about 5-6 months later.
Okay.
And he immediately gets thrust into a program with Stone Cold.
Okay.
And that gets that started. I believe I talked about that last time where they fought all over the...
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Hart had turned down a deal that summer for WCW. So his contract was up. WCW came in and offered him $8.4 million over 3 years. Yeah. He's the best wrestler in the world at this point.
$8.4 million.
Yes. Now,
okay, do we know how much he was getting paid by McMahon? Because
over 8.4 over 3 years is 2 and some change per year.
Yeah.
I think he was getting 7,000 to 8,000, possibly cresting $1 million, maybe not.
Okay.
McMahon doesn't have Ted Turner money.
Yeah, okay. All right, there is that.
So McMahon talks with him. Brett goes to McMahon and he's like, I've got this great offer. What can you give me? And he said, and I'll tell you right now, I don't want to take that offer. I want to stay here. So there's some mutual loyalty going on there.
Okay.
Brett helped McMahon. McMahon helped make Brett.
Yeah.
So he and McMahon sign a 20-year deal. And it's going to be worth, I want to say like $10 million over the course of 20 years, but a whole bunch of it up front. And then as he transitions to being office staff, he'll get less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
But 20 years, and it's an unprecedented deal. Nobody's ever had that deal. Okay, so that happens in the summer. Okay, then he comes back, and he and Sean, after the program with Stone Cold, that pretty much ends at Survivor Series of 96.
Okay.
Which is a really cool Survivor Series. After that program ends, he then starts positioning himself for matches with Shawn and starts setting up for WrestleMania, right? Well, he and Shawn start having a bit of problems, and McMahon is in the background kind of stoking it because real heat equals real heat in the ring equals a good match.
Okay. That makes sense. What I read in my piddling research compared to your vast innate knowledge and the amount of research you've done.
Sure.
But in reading about the screw job, what came up was that the two of them had a feud.
Yeah.
Prior.
Yeah.
And so was it just insults being flung back and forth, or was there some event?
So it goes back to Mania and a little bit before that, right? They're the two best, and according to Shawn, he had immense respect for Brett, and according to Brett, he thought that Shawn was going to be the guy that he passed the torch to. Okay. So he smelled money, Shawn smelled money. They both had been friends before, then they'd grown apart, and then you've got this, and Shawn's starting to act like a dick. And Brett has always been accused of taking shit too seriously. Okay. So Shawn has a wonderful run as champion. I think he ends up losing to Sid at one point. And then, he loses the belt. He drops the belt to Sid, Psycho Sid. Okay. Who is just a shitty, terrible worker who looks amazing. He's got an incredible look, and he's got this weird-ass charisma. Okay. But he's a shit worker. He loses to Sid eventually. I think he loses to Sid actually at Survivor Series. Okay. And then Shawn gets the belt back. Right. And then, so he's supposed to drop the belt to Brett. That was Brett's assumption, by the way. I'm not going to say that was the plan. I'm going to say that that's what Brett dropped the belt in Mania thinking. Yeah. And was allowed to think that. Yeah. Plans change, things go different, but Shawn gets the belt back and he's supposed to drop to Brett, but then on February 13th, 1997, and I literally just have that locked in my head, Shawn gives the famous "I've lost my smile" speech. What really is happening is that he has knee troubles. He's starting to have knee troubles, and he needs to have surgery. And so they do this thing where Owen Hart kicks him in the head. Owen Hart, Brett's brother, kicks him in the head, and he gets concussed and all this. And it's a storyline type thing. And then he goes out into the crowd, or I'm sorry, he goes out to the ring the next week. I think it's the next week, and he talks about how he's lost his smile, which was a surprise to just about everybody. And he surrenders the belt, which means he's not dropping it to Brett. Now Brett's pissed. By all accounts, it was the plan going forward that they have a rematch at Mania, that they have a rematch for the belt. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so.
Okay.
And it seemed like it was going that way because Shawn got the belt back from Sid.
Yeah.
But he drops the belt and says, I can't. Well, then there's a four-man... there was supposed to be a four-man thing to decide who was the number one contender, and Brett was going to get that. But then Stone Cold screws him out of it, and I think... Let's see, we're going into WrestleMania 13.
Yeah.
I think that Undertaker wins it.
Okay.
Because Undertaker, Vader, Brett, and Sid...
Austin.
No, it's Sid.
Okay.
Austin comes in and interferes, right?
Oh, all right.
So... and I might have that a little bit fuzzy, but so this is February. Mania is in March.
Oh shit!
So the championship match.
Not a lot of time.
No. And then so Shawn announces that he's got to go get surgery and all this kind of stuff. Then a few weeks later, he comes out and does a backflip off the top rope in his street clothes. So now these guys have legit heat, and then Shawn ends up. I don't think he ends up getting the surgery, or if he does, it's just a scoping and it's not a big deal. But either way, yeah. So now Brett and Shawn have legit heat with each other. Brett's pissed.
Yeah.
Understandably so. Most people are tired of Shawn's shit. And they just are. It's WrestleMania 13, so that puts us in 1997. No.
Yeah.
13 is in 97. Yes, because 14 was in 98. So 13 is in 1997. It's March of 1997. Shawn comes out and does commentary for the championship match. He's putting everybody over. Now, at this point, it's clear that he and Brett are having an on-air feud. Brett comes out and interferes in the match and gets his ass kicked. But at one point, he cuts a promo on Shawn. He says, you little boy toy. By the way, Shawn had posed for Playgirl. And he calls him, you little boy toy, he keeps calling him that for a while. You go back and find your damn smile or I'll kick your ass and da-da-da-da. And Shawn's like, oh, I'm so scared. So he absolutely starts acting like a chicken shit heel, but also a cool heel, putting himself over at Brett's expense. Brett is basically playing by Marquise of Queensberry rules.
Yeah.
And Shawn is playing by ECW rules, in terms of the disparity between who's getting over verbally. Also, Brett has never been a good, strong promo. Shawn has always been a good, strong promo. So you have the commentary during Mania. They don't talk to each other much after that, partly due to a few things that happen. Shawn gives a promo. They start really feuding, after Brett turns heel at Mania. He turns heel at Mania 13.
Okay.
And he turns Austin face, and we talked about the double turn.
Yeah.
So now Brett is a petulant heel, and so you can really go in against him about him whining and stuff like that.
Okay.
But Shawn is acting like a sarcastic face, so he's not quite a face anymore. And Brett's like, look, Taker's your number one face. Who's your goddamn heel here? Because it used to be Shawn, and now it's me, and now you're saying it's Shawn again. What are you doing with me? Right? And he's got this 20-year contract.
Oh, okay. All
so
right.
he's got a reason to stick around and do stuff. Well, it gets worse and worse. Shawn calls out Brett, I think I want to say it was in the summer. He says, well, Brett, while you've been busy having sunny days, I've been doing this. And he gave this promo about how Brett takes wrestling too seriously. I don't need wrestling. I like wrestling. Brett lives wrestling. And that's the problem. And blah, blah, blah. And they says, well, you've been having sunny days, which to anybody in the know, including Brett's wife, implies that Brett was sleeping with the valet named Sonny.
Oh.
And that caused problems for Brett at home. It's a little out of bounds, Sean is spiraling in his lack of self-control.
Holy crow.
Yeah.
Like, do we know if there's...
Brett didn't have an affair with Sunny. Sunny had a crush on him. He certainly flirted with her. Matter of fact, Sean and Sunny were cheating on Sunny's husband with each other for quite some time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that was projection.
Yeah.
Holy... Wow.
Yeah. So all of this is happening on screen. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Back the truck up.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
I just realized that means it was actually a soap opera.
Yes.
Behind the scenes.
Yes.
Like the real interplay going on. That wasn't kayfabe. That was no. Wow.
Yeah. And then
I don't know how to process that emotionally.
Exactly.
Like,
and it manifests on screen in these little snippets and vignettes, but these guys are living it. And the phrase is, by this point, they had done what's called working themselves into a shoot. Now they do hate each other.
Wow.
So then they don't talk much after that. Like,
clearly.
A few times. Then at one point, Brett goes in. Now this is 97. Okay. No, this is. Yeah, Mania was. Yes. So this is 97.
All of this is 97.
Brett goes in and talks to Sean in the bathroom, and they get into a fight. And Sean is just like, I think Sean starts it. By all accounts, that seems to be what happened. And Brett is like, "Hey, Sean, I want to talk to you. We haven't talked in a while." And Sean's like, "Don't even talk to me. How dare you?" And blah, blah. It's like, what? And then Sean attacks him. Brett actually does know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And Brett constantly calls it a cat fight.
Okay.
Because they were just grabbed each other's hair and they tussled. And according to people who were there, they fell through a partition. And according to other people, they were tussling on the bathroom floor and people had to come and separate them. Other people say they fell through a partition. Either way, Sean comes into the office where I think Jerry Lawler and I'm pretty sure Bruce Pritchard are there with Vince McMahon having a production meeting. And Sean goes into the office and slams a clump of his own hair down that Brett had pulled out. And slams it down and says, "I can't work in an unsafe work environment. This is an unsafe work environment." Now that's red flag words there, right? And then he leaves the show. So he no-shows the show. He's advertised to be there. He gets suspended for 2 months.
Wow.
This doesn't give much in the way of a chance for these guys to actually bury the hatchet. Now there are a few reconciliations that end up going awry. For instance, they're still working the program. Brett has the title. I think I talked to you about SummerSlam last time, right?
I think so.
Yeah, where Brett spits at him.
Yeah,
the oysters. Yeah. So Brett has
the oysters.
He has has a bad knee shortly thereafter. And he's antagonized, and so he has to kind of be off his knee for a while to be ready for the bigger matches. And so he's in a wheelchair and he's playing the chicken shit heel thing there.
Yeah.
And he's standing there in the ring, and he stands up from his wheelchair and he's cutting a promo on Sean, and he goes long. Now the problem with this is it goes off the air. It was supposed to go off the air with Sean kicking him backward into the wheelchair, and that's supposed to be it. Instead, people saw on TV Brett just roasting Sean, and Sean didn't get anything back.
Oh.
Now, this is after they'd reconciled.
No. Oh.
So Sean is like, I can't fucking trust this guy,
Oh, man.
So,
okay.
we still haven't gotten to,
the actual match.
Yeah. So in October, Hart goes back to Sean. This is according to Hart. And tries to bury the hatchet. And he says to Sean, "No matter what our problems have been, I want you to know that I will always protect you in the ring. I will always take care of you. And if I have to job cleanly to you, I will." And Sean says, "I appreciate that, but I will not be jobbing to you." Now, that's October.
Okay.
After that, Hart is like, "Fuck this guy. I'm not jobbing to him. I'm certainly not jobbing to him in Canada. And I'm certainly not jobbing to him." Yeah.
He's huge.
Now, another thing that's happened at this point is Vince McMahon has decided that he's going to take his company public in a few years. In order to do that, he has to offload some long-term liabilities, like, say, a 20-year contract for millions and millions of dollars. So he goes back to Brett and he says, I made a mistake and I cannot afford to pay you your contract. Can I please get out of it? He says, and what I want you to do is go back to Eric Bischoff and see if you can get a good deal, and we'll make noise that I'm trying to keep you so you can get an even better deal. Brett doesn't want to do this, but he does do it. He feels very hurt by this, by his own account, and he goes and he strikes a really good deal. I think it's $9 million over the course of 3 years.
Okay.
Gets a better deal.
Okay.
Signs the deal. And the contract that he had with Vince said that in his last 30 days on contract, he had creative control. That is, he gets to say yes or no to matches and to storylines and stuff like that, so that you don't bury him on his way out and lessen his value, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
Now, his contract is supposed to take place on December 5th. He's supposed to start with WCW on December 5th.
Right.
Okay. And so now the problem is he's still got the belt. You got to get that belt off of him. We're trying to get it on Shawn, but Shawn has said, I'm not going to return the favor. Now it's kind of immaterial, but fuck that guy. Yeah. And they're doing a loop through Canada. And at this point, Brett is a good guy in Canada, and everywhere else in the world, he's a bad guy in the United States. It's a really interesting dynamic.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he cuts all these anti-U.S. promos. He does a lot of chicken shit heel stuff in the U.S., but when he goes up to Canada, he's acting like a face.
Okay.
This way, he could still get merchandise money.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So, because you don't tend to buy a merchandise for a heel. You know? The last person I ever saw wearing a Greg the Hammer Valentine shirt doesn't exist. Just doesn't. So, this gets us to November of 1997.
Yeah.
Now, starting on November 5th, Brett has creative control. And
for 30 days.
And Survivor Series is between November and December.
Okay.
So he's got creative control, which means he keeps saying no. Now, Vince McMahon is afraid that Brett is going to take the belt and go over to WCW and show it on TV. Big embarrassing thing. This happened back in 1995 when Medusa, the female wrestler, the World Wrestling Federation female or women's champion, Vince was like, I have to cut the whole, because 95 is bad. Yeah, I have to cut the whole division of women's wrestlers. And she went with it. So, she brought the belt with her and threw it in the trash on TV on WCW. Which many say that.
Wow.
Many say that started the Monday Night Wars. Okay. So McMahon is afraid that Brett's going to do that. And, what do you do when you're afraid someone's going to do a thing? You don't address it.
Yeah.
And these are all grown men not addressing shit.
Not communicating with each other at all. I blame the testosterone.
Yeah. I would also blame the tremendous subjectivity of the money based on your Q factor with an audience.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, you got to protect yourself.
That makes sense.
So eventually, they're like, how are we going to do this? Your last night with us, would have to be. And he says, I will drop the belt to Shawn, not in Montreal. And they're like, okay, well, how about here? No, not in Canada. Well, how about Detroit? That's not going to work for me either because I got a lot of fans in Detroit. It's like, Brett, you have fans everywhere. But at the same time, here's the other thing. Brett went to Vince and said, hey, Shawn just said this bullshit. And what? Oh, hell no. Call him in here. And he calls him in. He's like, I'm going to straighten him out. And Brett's like, all right, fine. I fucking hate being a narc, but this is bullshit. And then he tells Shawn, he's like, we're going to put the belt on you, pal. It's like, motherfucker, like you just said you're going to... That's straightening him... What? But in many ways, Vince saw Brett as being part of the past. Brett was part of the new generation, and that never really took off.
Yeah.
Shawn is part of this new attitude era. It's hip, it's edgy, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Okay? And you don't know what's going to fly out of Shawn's mouth because Shawn doesn't know what's going to fly out of Shawn's mouth. So eventually, it's agreed that they're going to do a massive run-in, which is fairly chaotic, but remember ECW, they've been doing this, and they've been normalizing that, so it's now a viable option. And it'll be a DQ, and then the next night, Brett can come back and like tell his American fans goodbye and surrender the belt. It's not like Shawn didn't surrender the belt earlier that year.
Right.
But at the same time, Shawn surrendered the belt earlier that year. You don't want to push that button too many times, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So Vince McMahon meets with Pat Patterson and Shawn Michaels in Shawn Michaels' hotel room. Okay, so he has that agreement with Bret. Now, we know that he has that agreement with Bret because for the last year, Bret has had a camera crew following him around recording a documentary with all access. Vince McMahon agreed to this, by the way.
Oh, wow.
They're filming a documentary on Bret the Hitman Hart.
Okay.
Okay, and Bret is wired, and he goes into that meeting wearing that wire, so it gets recorded.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Vince McMahon agrees to a DQ finish. He's still afraid that Bret's going to screw him, which is weird because Bret has shown no sign of doing that.
Yeah, Bret is coming across as kind of the William Marshall of the WWE.
His biggest accusation is that he takes shit too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, he's not, and Jim Cornette, a very famous wrestling manager, historian, and promoter, said, he's like, there's no way that Bret is going to expose the business.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. Which he was proven wrong after the screw job, because Bret exposed the business after the screw job.
Well, but after look at the
yeah.
level of provocation involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was kind of his point. He's like, look what you got him to do, you know? So Vince McMahon goes and meets with Pat Patterson and Shawn Michaels. Pat Patterson is the first intercontinental champion of the WWF. He won it in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh.
This tournament never happened. They just gave Pat this belt in, I think, 1979 or 81, something like that.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. Like, it's like we need a second tier belt, essentially.
Okay.
Because world champion, intercontinental champion.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So Pat Patterson was the first intercontinental champion. Pat Patterson.
Okay.
Pat Patterson was also the referee for the Hulk Hogan, Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff main event of the first WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
Pat Patterson had retired by that point. Now, Pat Patterson is a phenomenal wrestler. He also is openly, well, he's dead now, but he was openly gay. Behind the scenes, never on camera.
Oh, yeah.
And someday I'm going to do a gender studies episode about this because queerdom is really interesting in wrestling. I mean, first off,
there's so much latent homoeroticism just involved in, half-naked, greased-up dudes.
Thank God for it. I loved when Randy Orton was Ascendant. I really did. Don't get me wrong. Trish Stratus is hot, and Lita is the fucking bombshell, but Randy Orton was so fun to look at. I wasn't too far from his age either. So, but there were wrestlers.
So was that an era of self-discovery for you?
Oh no, I'd known for years.
Okay,
you kidding?
okay, all right, okay.
Hell no.
Just,
that was 2004.
Okay. But
I was on my way to getting. Yeah.
You speak about it like it was transformative. So
No. It was affirmative.
Okay. All right.
Formidable.
Affirming, but, okay.
Very firming. But so
back now.
Yeah. Pat Patterson was gay. Never in the ring, never on stage, never in public. But all the boys knew. Adrian Adonis was straight as an arrow. Very queer coded.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, with a name like that one.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, originally he and Jesse the Body Ventura were a tag team, and then he let himself get fat, and then I'll show you pictures of Adrian Adonis. It's goddamn hilarious. But he would wear moo to the ring. So every time you have a character who's queer coded, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But if you're gay, you're going to play it straight and you're going to be a good guy. It's the weird. Well, Pat Patterson was actually a villain quite often. Come to think of it. But either way, he still was,
Yeah.
Not a villain because he was queer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Pat Patterson is a longtime official in the WWF, and more importantly, he is a longtime creative official. He's like the head writer, basically, in the WWF.
Wow.
And
Okay.
he could come up with... He's the reason that the Royal Rumble exists.
Really?
He came up with the idea.
Okay.
He comes up with the most
Cool.
creative finishes. He's amazing, right? And he's fantastic. Now, he also has a very sordid history of sexual abuse of the ring boys and things like that. I can't talk about him without talking about those things. It's goddamned awful. And it's amazing how well Vince protected him. You know, the thing is, people are very complex.
Yeah.
And to be gay at that time, by no means is that an excuse, but to be gay and out at that time, the amount of shit that you have to deal with up until you accept that in yourself can be deformative.
Yeah.
Um,
can twist one.
And also people in power tend to exercise that power in shitty ways.
Yes.
So, I mean, he is a complex character.
Okay.
Now he and Vince meet with Sean in the dressing room, and they say, "Okay, we're gonna do a screw job on Brett." And Vince is very clear of like, "You tell no one that you were a part of this. I want you to act like you didn't know anything about it."
To
the audience, to everyone, to the boys in the back, to Brett, to anybody who asks, you don't ever admit to it.
Sean.
To
He's
Sean.
saying this.
Yeah.
Tell Sean you don't know anything
Yes.
about this. Okay.
Yes. Now,
I'm the bad guy.
right. Needs to come to me. And Sean's
okay.
like, "Yeah, but I'm the guy in the fucking ring." But so just think about how many layers and twistabouts this is.
Yeah.
A fake combat, right?
Right.
But they're going to change the outcome for real.
Yeah.
But they're going to betray a guy for real, but then pretend that the guy doing the betraying didn't do the betraying. So
Right.
that
so that the heat winds up not going on to the guy that actually
Right.
did the screwing, but onto the guy holding the screwdriver,
as it were. And at this point, Vince McMahon is tacitly acknowledged as the promoter, but for the most part, he'd just been a announcer. So then you got that extra layer.
Okay.
Also, that one of the contrived combatants doesn't go to another federation with the belt
Yeah.
and show it there. It's
Meta upon meta upon
it is.
meta.
It's
Yeah.
life imitated art, which then imitated life, which then imitated art, which is then going to imitate life, which is then going to change the art, which is then going to change the life, which is, you're just like,
It's beyond postmodernist.
Yeah,
It's-
thank you.
It's
exactly that.
yeah.
So now they also bring the following people into it, and not that many others. Gerald Briscoe. Gerald Briscoe is another official for the WWF. He was a talent scout for the longest time. He is famous for saying to Chris Candido, a wrestler who was, and Gerald Briscoe's, at this time he was in his 60s, maybe older. He had been a tag team champion with his brother Jack Briscoe, and Jack Briscoe had been a NWA world champion in the 70s.
Okay.
So Gerald and Jack were tag team champions, and I think they were heels, but they were so incredibly skillful. And Gerald famously said to somebody, because Chris is like, "You gonna try to hook me?" He's like, "Chris, if I wanted to hook you, I'd have hooked you." And he's this old man that you just don't fuck with, right? So Gerald Briscoe was in on it.
That's not the guy you want to have
No.
going against you in a
No.
job like this. Yeah. Okay.
And so he's in on it too. He gets brought in on it because you need a few more accomplices. And there's the idea of, on your way out, you do the job. And that's where these guys can bury their moral compass a bit. Brett wasn't willing to do the job, therefore. And by the way, Triple H also suggested, fuck that guy. If he doesn't want to do business, we do business for him. And that's what got the ball rolling. Gerald Briscoe also was trying to figure out how to do it. So they're all agreed. And by the way, there's another guy, Paul Remus, I think his name is. You might know him as Sergeant Slaughter.
Wow.
He was also involved in this, right?
Okay.
So, and it's just a little bit of coordination and having more bodies out there to stop any kind of reprisal.
Okay.
It's not bodyguards with baseball bats, but
it's close.
it's very respected elders
Okay.
who are traditionalists who are protecting
Okay.
Vince McMahon and his interests now. So now the problem is, how are you going to do it? Okay, you have to figure out the how and the when. Not just that you're going to do it. Notice there's no referee involved in this yet.
Okay.
Now Hart goes to the guy he knows is going to be the referee, Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner's been around for a long time. He's very well respected. And he goes to him. He says, I got a feeling they're going to screw me. I just want you to look out for me. They've been friends for years. Earl says, Brett, I swear on my children, I am not going to be a part of anything like that. I got you. That's earlier in the day. Later in the day, Sean goes up to him. Now, there's two accounts. Earl Hebner, who has kind of proven himself to be unreliable as a narrator, he said that somebody pulled him aside 10 minutes before the match, and Vince told him, you're going to do this. Shawn Michaels says, no, I went to him earlier that evening and told him, we're going to do this. Either way, after he talked to Brett, he then was told, you're going to screw Brett. Hart and Sean are trying to figure out the match. They're putting it together and like, okay, what spots do you want to do? What do you want to do? And they've already agreed on the DQ finish. There's going to be a bunch of run-ins. It's going to be ECW layers of chaos. But there's this really cool spot, and Sean and Brett's like, why don't you put me in my hold, and then I'll reverse it on you? And at that moment, Sean and Briscoe both know that's our kill switch. So the match is going. It's a really good match, actually. It's a great match. I mean, there's tons of heat on Sean. He plays it up really, really well. This is pre-back injury Sean, so he's able to do a lot of stuff. And he and Brett had really good chemistry. Hart is laying down there. By the way, a few minutes before they get to that spot, there's a point where the ref gets bumped. And then Vince comes out, and so does Gerald Briscoe. And Pat Patterson's hanging out in the back, and Sergeant Slaughter comes out there, which is weird. And Brett kind of looks, and he's like, the fuck is going on here? And, it's still that cognitive dissonance of this can't be happening. So he goes on with the match. He's laying on his back, and Sean goes to put him in his move, and Sean doesn't know how to do the move. So Brett actually is shouting up to him, no, you got to get my other leg. And he gives him his other leg. And Sean finally gets the move on. So talk about like just a Shakespearean
level of
tragedy. Yeah. Sean gets Brett in the hold, and he's supposed to put his leg back a little, but he doesn't. So Brett is reaching back and kind of scrabbling, and he's like, okay, well, Sean forgot. And he finally, and Earl Hebner basically goes, yeah, ring the bell. And you hear Vince going, ring that fucking bell. And they ring the bell. They play Sean's music. Right as they do that, Brett grabs Sean's leg and starts pulling him up. And then Sean, everything is happening just in seconds. Brett is stunned, and he's got like this smile of like, motherfucker, Sean runs to the back. Gerald Briscoe grabs him, gets him the belt, and runs him to the back. Earl Hebner has already left.
Well, yeah.
He literally runs out. There is a car waiting for him with the engine running. He drives to the hotel and stays in his room with the phone off the hook for the entire night.
Wow. Back in the days, by the way, when you had phones that would, sit in a cradle.
Yes.
And you could make yourself unreachable.
Yes.
By doing that. Wow.
So Sean is looking pissed, like he doesn't, and he's like, what the fuck happened?
Brett, you mean?
No, Sean looks like that.
Oh.
Because he's doing what Vince told him.
Oh.
Brett looks around, and at this point in the back, because Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, and Owen Hart are in the back because they're supposed to run out, and Jim Neidhart, they're supposed to run out and interfere. And then they're like looking at the monitors, and they're like, and Davey Boy goes, they just fucked Brett. So they come out, and Brett is pissed, and he hawks, again, him with the spit. He spits right in Vince McMahon's eye.
Oh, wow.
And says, fuck you. Spits right in his eye. And then he goes out and just starts destroying monitors and shit. He gets back in the ring, and I might have reversed that, and he basically draws with his finger in the air WCW. Because that's where he's going. He's letting people know. He's like, fuck these guys. I don't know them anything, you know?
Yeah.
Gives the I love you and goes back. Now, he gets back there, and Sean is in the dressing room. And Brett comes in, and he's like, did you know about this? And Sean's like, I swear on my children. I have no idea. I don't think he had children. As God is my witness.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
something to that effect, yeah.
Actually, he might have had kids by then.
Well, anyway.
But
whatever it was, he
He
spoke powerful oaths.
Yes.
In
swore
defense of
that he had
his
nothing to do
innocence.
with it.
Yes.
And Brett basically says, okay, well, you know, if we'll see tomorrow on tomorrow night's Raw what you do, that'll tell me. And which again, Brett's taking things a little too seriously as far as that part goes, but I mean, he's got good instincts.
Yeah.
Undertaker. Remember Undertaker?
Yeah.
He saw what happened. He's like, fuck this. So he goes to Vince. He's like, what the hell did you just do? The thing is, Undertaker is so well respected in the locker room by this time and has a good rapport with Vince. Like, Vince answers to him a bit when he comes and confronts him. He's like, you have to go and you need to make this right with Brett. You don't get to do that. You've just destroyed everything with the boys. And Vince says, look, here was my reasoning. I don't like it. I don't expect you to like it, but I had to do it to protect the business. The problem with wrestlers is someday that'll be my boot stamping my competition in the face, and I like to lick it clean first, right?
Yeah.
So wrestlers tend to side with the business, even though the business chews them up and spits them out. But Taker forces Vince to go and confront Brett. And Vince talks himself into it, and he's got his son there, and he's got Gerald Briscoe there, and I think Pat Patterson's there. And he goes into the locker room where Brett's changing. And Brett's like, you screwed me. And Vince is like, Brett, you know, I want to explain what happened and blah, blah. He's like, there's nothing to explain. And he says, I'm going to go take a shower. And then I'm going to get dressed. And if you're still here, I'm knocking your ass out. Goes in, takes a shower, comes out. Vince is still there. Gets dressed, finishes tying up his shoes. He even says, I remember lacing my shoes going, okay, here we go.
Oh, shit.
He knocks Vince the fuck out.
Wow.
One shot. Boom. Done. Now, there's varying accounts of this, right? Now, what's really interesting is a lot of this ends up on the Wrestling with Shadows documentary. But when Vince walks in, Brett tells the camera guys, you guys need to turn it off. Brett tells the camera guys, turn this part off. And they do.
Huh.
So there's a documentary filming the backstage of the, you know, with the, and so let's just add 3 more layers. Let's add a Madonna Truth or Dare layer to all of this, you know?
Yeah.
So he knocks out Vince. He gives him a shiner, gives him a black eye, and Vince gets his ankle sprained because apparently Gerald Briscoe stepped on his ankle.
in the fracas.
You know.
Okay.
And so that's essentially how it happens, right? So that's the screw job.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just a wild chance that all of this happened while there was a film crew to deal with it all. It's nuts.
Like, you wouldn't believe it if anybody wrote it as fiction.
Right.
It's crazy.
Now, at the end of it all, I'd like to take stock. Bret Hart was a traditionalist, and he was the standard bearer of the new generation.
Which, as we discussed, as you pointed out,
yes,
and elucidated,
that's weird.
In our last episode was that, like, okay, new generation, not really that new,
right?
Doing something deeply derivative with different colors,
yeah.
You know, and
claiming to be new, but using a traditionalist as its standard bearer.
Yeah.
So he gets screwed for upholding tradition.
Yeah.
Gets blamed for not upholding tradition because you're supposed to do the honors.
Yeah, okay.
And he then goes to the now more traditional audience WCW to join the group there that's made up of traditional wrestlers who'd predated or been contemporaries of him in the WWF as main eventers, who were posing as new blood who had come in as iconoclasts against the traditionalists who were already in WCW by mostly beating up new wrestlers. Would you like me to say it again?
No. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Feel free to hit the scrub backward button on this.
Yeah.
You know,
go back and listen to that however many times you need.
Draw some cards. You know, do the
no. I think at this point, what it actually needs is a cork board.
Yeah.
With photos.
Yes.
And
threads. Yeah.
Running.
Now afterward, okay, so Brett is out of the WWF. By the way, his contract doesn't start until December 5th, which I think is like the next week.
Yeah.
The very next night on WCW. See, WCW stepped on its dick so many times. And this is yet another time. They have everybody in there for like 10 minutes trying to sing the Canadian national anthem, talking about how great it is to have Brett coming in. And Brett's not even in the building because he doesn't start until the 5th. And it just, like, it's a do nothing, go nowhere, lack of creative, very lazy.
Yeah.
We need to mention that Vince got punched. So afterward,
that's rooted entirely in, you know, the whole experiment being based on Ted Turner wanting to eat Vince McMahon's lunch.
I still think that it's actually more Eric Bischoff than Ted Turner at this point.
Okay,
but yes,
but it's the motive is the same.
Yes,
you know.
Now afterward, Vince McMahon goes on camera. I don't want to say the next night because I think that was recorded, but the following week. Okay, so 2 weeks later, he goes on camera and gets interviewed by Jim Ross. Who is going to be the voice of the Attitude Era, even though he is an old traditional Southern wrestling guy. It's just so weird So, and he talks about how Bret Hart didn't respect the business or the traditions of the business.
And this is where Bret screwed Bret.
Yes. It's wild to hear this coming from the guy who revolutionized the business by nationalizing it. And yet at heart, he's very much a traditional promoter in many ways. However, on the very important existential and business levels, he's not a traditionalist, right? When he was asked if he's a wrestling promoter, he once said, well, that's what my father did. We make movies. It's like, at that point, you didn't have a movie studio.
Yeah.
But he's trying to separate himself from the thing that he is traditionally, I could do a whole episode just on the rise of McMahon as a character. Now, I mean the Mr. McMahon character, not Vince McMahon.
Okay.
Which, again, blurred realities.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacques Derrida is
weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. I want to do those episodes.
Oh, sure.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah. Now, suffice to say for now that Vince McMahon blindly wandered into the Stone Cold Steve Austin, D-Generation X, and Mr. McMahon characters. He fell over backward into it. He did not plan this out. It was not a long-term plan. It was, okay, because he thought that he was going to come off as the good guy, going on there with his blackened eye, going on there saying Bret screwed Bret and all that kind of stuff.
He kind of doesn't understand his own fans.
Misread the room, yeah.
Wow.
And then he caught on. Now, once he caught on, he went full gusto. But
because lean into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't get it. And similarly, in WCW, Eric Bischoff one-eyed walked into the NWO. And the ratings juggernaut that it brought about. Like, he stole an idea from Japan, and he's like, let's give this a shot, but he didn't quite know how to get there, and then it just kind of... So neither promoter did a good job, and despite themselves, they were able to find success not doing a good job, doing basically the same thing. Now, this leads us to the December 15th promo in 1997, where Vince McMahon comes out and names what he is going to do. He calls out that he's going to let the chaos run him in the hopes that he could keep one hand on the wheel. He couched it in terms of terms of acceptability to the audience. Okay, so again, I would point out this is 1997. You remember WCW pioneered the chaos, and then WCW and WWF flirted with it, and then kind of backed over into using it.
Yeah, well, and they got kind of pushed in that direction by everything that ECW had done.
Had no power, and yet it was able, through tactical choices, to make strategic choices.
Yeah.
So he said, surely the era of superhero urging you to say your prayers and take your vitamins is definitely passé. I mean, a direct shot to Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
A direct repudiation of Hulkamania. The old way, which itself was not, which is a new way.
Yeah.
Right? And by extension, he's blasting WCW. It's kind of the billionaire Ted skits again. He says, even though we call ourselves sports entertainment because of the athleticism involved, the key word in that phrase is entertainment. It's not the pretense of rules that drives what happens in the ring. And it's not the pretense of the wrestling that keeps anything in the ring. It's all about entertainment, as though it hadn't been before. Which is just really, really something. Okay?
He's basically like throwing kayfabe under the bus.
Yeah. Now, the pretense of the rules part is my quote. I'm sorry I didn't change my voice back to Damian voice. But yeah, the key word in that phrase is entertainment. So not the pretense of rules, not the architecture of the ring, not keeping the action in the ring, and it's not the pretense of wrestling anymore because you have a lot more backstage skits. It's all about the entertainment, even though before it was about the entertainment, but it was within these rules. Now, by now, it's not a genre no longer pleasing the fans. It's changing to get the fans back and then stay on top and calling that fan service. And Vince McMahon is trying to have it both ways. It's not just the chaos simply taking him over. It's the attempt of those in power to control the new shifts and direct them comfortably, but have all the trappings of what change was coming. He said, and I quote, "We are responsible television producers who work hard to bring you this outrageous, wacky, wonderful world known as the WWF." He said this when he was referencing whether or not parents should exercise parental control on Saturday mornings, like he was encouraging them to do on Monday nights. He's like, Monday nights, you might want to exercise some parental discretion. Saturday mornings, we're still good.
Okay.
So keeping one hand on the wheel, trying to steer it.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that's I'll go a little bit more, but we're going to stop before we get to the DX. So at this point, the members no, actually let's go back a little bit. The following year, 1998, as I pointed out before, shows factioning up of wrestling. And it takes a deep hold and lasts through the 2000s. The anti-hero approach of Stone Cold Steve Austin was fully ascendant by 1998. He wins at WrestleMania 14 against Shawn Michaels.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the Austin era was born.
Right.
You had someone in power despite who the man in charge wanted to have in power.
Yes.
And he, Austin, didn't give a shit about your rules or your conventions. And he's the one steering the ship now. He broke all the rules. He took the fights outside of the rings as often as possible, and he was vicious. What's the phrase? There aren't very many people that are good at what I do, or something like that.
I'm the best at what I do, and what I do isn't very nice.
It's got a very Wolverine feel to it.
It's got a very Wolverine feel to it, yeah.
He was a constant in his behavior, too. He was shitty but cool, especially in contrast to the boss, the corporate boss, the boss who was trying to run everything and machinations behind the screen. It's 1998. He's setting himself up as the anti-hero to the guy who's in charge.
Yeah.
Definitely appealing to and very working class. He's from Victoria, Texas. Technically, he's from Edna, Texas, but he's from Texas. He's very much appealing to this self-ascribed identity of people who don't like that Bill Clinton is Slick Willie. At this point, the members of D-Generation X hadn't changed any of how they wrestled either. The New Age Outlaws were still heels, but they had a great call and response intro. You hear this, do, oh, you didn't know? And then the whole audience says it with them. It's like, yo ass better call somebody. It's so fun. So they have this call and response intro, even though they wrestle like chicken shit heels and vicious heels, the audience loves them. And they're telling the people to suck it. And in this action, the
cross
cross chops, because that's an X.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And suck it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that crossed over into professional bowling.
Oh my God.
There's a documentary that almost looks like one of the mockumentaries, A Mighty Wind.
Yeah.
That's about
The
pro
bowling.
bowling.
Sure.
And one of the guys is this, he's solidly a championship level pro bowler.
Sure.
But he winds up creating a persona for himself.
God damn it.
When
was this?
Clearly, this must have been, I don't know, 99, 2000.
Talk about fitting.
I'd have to look it up.
So you create a persona for yourself. You are a step removed from your own reality.
Yeah, and
so that it enhances your reality.
Yeah.
And you imitate pro wrestling to do it.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
In the next episode, I'll have to mention it. But yeah. Okay.
So there's an actual match where the New Age Outlaws are fighting against a group called the New Midnight Express.
Okay.
Now, the New Midnight Express is a flaccid appeal to tradition.
Right.
It is because the Midnight Express were these amazing wrestlers from the 80s. So it's the New Midnight Express.
Okay.
Which anytime you're called the new of something, unless it's unless it's the New Age Outlaws or the New World Order. By the way, notice what keeps getting bandied about, the word new.
Yeah.
But unless you are the new, that's something that's original, it's a kiss of death. So the New Midnight Express said suck it, trying to mock the New Age Outlaws, and the entire audience was silent.
Oh, that's bad.
The crowd was fully behind the New Age Outlaws, even though they were bad guys. Now, the New Age Outlaws were anti-heroes who stayed constant with their behavior, and they were shitty but cool. They broke the rules, and they were vicious. A couple months earlier at WrestleMania, they'd participated in a dumpster match against Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Chainsaw Charlie is also known as Terry Funk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The match was you have to put these guys in a dumpster and close the lids on them, which doesn't occur in the ring at all. Okay. And the reason for this match, by the way, is because a few weeks earlier, Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack, who were partners, decided to have a hardcore match against each other. And they were up on the top of the ramp. And Cactus jumped off a ladder into the dumpster onto Chainsaw Charlie, and then the New Age Outlaws came and pushed them 15 feet off the stage.
Oh, shit.
So that's what set up this match. But notice at WrestleMania, you have a match that exists entirely outside of the ring again. So these guys were vicious, and like I said, they'd had their they had their dumpster match, and yet they still got cheered. And by 1998, this is the landscape. You look like you're going to say something.
Well, okay, so you talk about a dumpster match involving these guys.
Yes.
Hold on a sec.
Okay, and by the way, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it there because the next year is even crazier.
Let's see. Anyway, there's I've mentioned it before.
Okay.
But you talk about a dumpster match.
Yes.
And in talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
I mentioned that Farscape.
Yes.
The science fiction series.
Yep.
John Crichton. Notably, it became a phrase within the fandom. Can I get a hell yeah?
Right.
There's actually an episode in which he's wrestling with the big bad villain in his own head, figuratively wrestling with him. But at one point, he throws him into a dumpster, slams the lid shut, and then shouts, "Can I get a hell yeah?"
So you're mixing a little bit there, but not by much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, you mentioned that, and I'm like, wait, I gotta hold on. I gotta look that up. Okay.
So I'm done for this episode.
Okay.
It was almost entirely about the Montreal Screwjob.
Yes.
Which I am going to point out again. The Montreal Screwjob was a work that worked itself into a shoot that then acted like a work that then became a shoot. Which then led to more work. Like it is so multi-layered.
Yeah.
In terms of the postmodernism
Yeah.
aspects of it, because all of this
But
is
do they know we know?
right. Oh, but we know that they know that we know. And one of the reasons for this is because the dirt sheets and the internet are kind of big. So you're starting to get smart fans, and they're called smart marks.
Okay.
And now people are starting to book with those fans in mind of like, we have to swerve them. And in 98, we're going to get to the swerves. But,
Wow.
yeah. So everybody acknowledges that it's kayfabe, and yet we're still going to swerve you on the kayfabe that you already acknowledge is kayfabe, and you won't see it coming, even though you'll see it coming because you've seen it coming before, but you won't see it.
We're working to script it more like a traditional television series.
Yes.
Where, okay, you've been watching all the way up here.
Yep.
And now the twist.
Yes.
Okay.
But we need more ratings next week because we just, we were preempted by the Westminster Dog Kennel Club. So that happens, by the way, a lot. Fucking USA, man. And WCW was preempted by the NBA Finals because TNT had the NBA Finals.
Oh, yeah.
So which is real competitions.
Yeah.
A dog competition, but still a competition.
Yeah.
And
and an actual athletic competition.
Yes.
Between
preempting the scripted.
I almost said
contrived.
real athletes, but these guys are
They're absolutely real athletes.
fucking
Yeah.
athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what'd you glean from that?
I'm still kind of reeling over the level to which life imitates art.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working in an environment where your job consistently involves stoking fake drama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kayfabe drama.
Yeah.
It's
contrived.
Yeah,
Contrived drama.
And you're essentially doing a soap opera for folks who like a lot more violence and a lot less overt, semi-overt sex.
Mm-hmm. When we get into the 2000s, there's actually a live sex show.
Okay.
Yeah, complete with a nip slip by accident, actually. Edge won the championship, and he celebrates by having sex with Lita in a bed in the middle of the ring. I mean, they're not actually fucking, but they go under the covers, and Lita's actually naked under there.
Oh, wow.
And then Ric Flair interrupts it because if there's one person to kill your boner,
it'd be Ric Flair.
Woo!
Yeah, woo! Yeah.
But yeah, that happens in the 2000s.
Holy
There was
shit.
also
Okay.
a tag team, not a tag team so much as a couple of guests of Eric Bischoff, who, by the way, ends up working for WWF, which at that point is called WWE. But he becomes a commissioner, and he forces Stephanie McMahon to kiss the lesbians.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's shitty.
Oh, yeah. So there's actually, like, you can get a screen cap of
there's
the lesbians.
Onions
Yeah.
have fewer layers of shittiness.
Yeah, because Vince McMahon is
Wow.
booking all this, by the way.
His own daughter.
Oh, it gets worse. Like, he books it where Eric Bischoff kisses and makes out with Linda McMahon. His rival is kissing his wife at his behest behind the camera. It gets wild.
Whoa, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway.
So
Proving your point.
Just yes.
Yeah.
That much more. Think about how immensely uncomfortable and like dysfunctional that has to make Thanksgiving at the McMahon household.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, and so just the extent to which the soap opera nature of it actually bleeds over into no. See, all of that is contrived, but its knock-on effects are actually real.
Yeah.
And like how
Which then
fucked
affect the
up.
contrivedness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fucked up must everybody wind up being? Like, you'd have to be a Zen master to remain a well-balanced emotional individual.
These are facts.
For like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's my takeaway.
Well, what do you want people to read or watch? Besides that Farscape episode, actually.
Number one, check out Farscape because it's amazing. And as far as read, I am going to once again ask everybody to
Please read Dune.
Please read Dune, because it is coming.
Yeah.
It is coming. And what I would recommend is actually a history book, The Greatest Night by Thomas Asbridge.
Okay.
It is a biography. This is the reason I mentioned William Marshall
Right.
in passing. It's a biography of William Marshall. And what you talk about, you know, Vince McMahon screwing all these people over and these people remaining loyal to him, there are parallels to Marshall and John of England. Okay. The only one with his name because he was such a shitty king. There's never been a king of England to carry that name since.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, pick it up. Thomas Asbridge, The Greatest Night. It's a great book. How about you?
I'm going to tell people to watch a couple different documentaries. We're going to keep it on the not so tragic side. We're going to watch. Yeah. So, which then I'm going to mention these.
Things.
It does. Then I'm going to mention these and you'll be like, shit, there's tragic ones. And the answer is yes. So the Vice has a series called The Dark Side of the Ring. Okay. Watch the one on the Montreal Screwjob, mostly for the commentary by Jim Cornette. He's kind of the star of that one. I don't recall Brett being interviewed for that, although he might have. There have been so many things that I've seen of Brett. So, the other one I want you to watch is the Fabulous Moolah episode. Okay. Now, when you've seen both of those, and then you realize I said those aren't the tragic ones, just recognize that I meant it. Wow. And it gets way bad. Yeah. So those are what I recommend. Okay. Yeah. Where can people find you on social medias?
I can be found on Twitter at EH Blaylock. I can be found on Instagram and TikTok as Mr. Blaylock. And where can they find you if they want to locate you?
Yeah, you can find me on twitch.tv/Capital Puns pretty much every Tuesday night, either doing a pun show or playing games with my punions.
Punpanions?
Yeah, that works. Punpanions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Punpanions. Yeah. He was the 5th most annoying musketeer, Punpanion.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well played.
But you could find me there. You could find me right here on this podcast, obviously. You could also find me at Duh Harmony on both the Twitter and the Insta. You could find me on twitch.tv/iMacPun. Which is the channel, and honestly, there's a YouTube channel called Excelsior Gaming. Yes. Marvel Strike Force. 99 Problems But a Stitcher Ain't One. All of those will get you to our channel, which is a lot of fun, where we talk about Marvel Strike Force, the game. Goddamn, that should be enough. Although I have toyed with the idea of creating an OnlyFans, where all I do is like mundane housework, and there's no sexual overtones at all. It's just my fat ass doing mundane housework for a minute at a time.
You would find people.
I think it's a moneymaker. Because the dad bod is in. And men doing chores is so rare that I will carve that niche.
You just very well
I might.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'll call it working hard. So then people will expect there to be sexual innuendo, and I will never pay it off. Yeah. Never. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. And where can they find our show?
If you want to shout at us because I have said something completely brainless about sparkly murder gymnastics, or if Damian got a date wrong somewhere in the middle of his timeline.
If I dishonored Gerald Briscoe to you.
Yeah, you can, any of those, or anything else for that matter, you can find us at Geek History Time on the Twitter machine.
Yeah. Also, we have a webpage.
We do. GeekHistoryTime.com.
Yeah. So go check that out.
Yes.
And of course, please, if you haven't subscribed already, first off, tell a friend and have them subscribe as well. Then you subscribe and then give us a review. Click that 5 stars that you know that we've earned, and also give us a review. The more people talk about it, the more chatter we get, the better it is for our algorithms. So,
indeed, please.
All right. Well, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And until next time, keep rolling 20s.